house, but then I see there's also a tree there, because I know there was a security on the right. We approached like this, and then we stopped. The driver, because I was sitting at the back of the vehicle, there was the two gentlemen in front. The one that was on the driving seat spoke to the security for a brief moment on the right side, and then we proceeded with the vehicle. I suspect that it's this gate. I was not particularly paying attention to the gate because I wouldn't know that this day would come where I have to. But I remember a tree, but I see there is also a tree there. But I strongly feel that it could have been this gate.
There is your answer, ma'am.
I will be able to determine once we are inside,
Okay.
for sure, whether which gate was it.
All right.
Sure.
What surprises me is, on that day, there was no single property, there was no single house in the property. But now I see one house, so I don't know, I'm disorientated.
Please explain, what do you mean there was not a single property?
So what I mean is, there were a few houses in the that I spotted.
As you drove through the gate?
No, once we were inside.
Okay. Do you recall perhaps how many houses you saw?
Not more than around 4 or 5.
Okay.
Another thing is the wall was not so close by the entrance, and I did not take so many steps.
Okay, I would suggest we take it perhaps a step at a
Yes.
time. You are then describing what you recall seeing on your arrival on the day. You can comment on that, then we move to the next issue. And your next issue is the staircase.
Is there only one house in this place?
I have absolutely no knowledge.
Each house is a separate house.
No, I know. What do you mean each house is a separate house? I know it's a separate house. That's why I'm asking, is there one house here, or are there several houses? Because it doesn't help me if I see only one house.
Okay, perhaps for the record, we should state that we walked into a property described as 5 Saxonwell Drive. That's the property we walked onto. And currently it views one house. And Ms. Mentor is taking issue with the fact that there is only one house. When last she walked through that gate, there were more than one houses.
In fact, the president said the son lives in one of the houses there. And there was more than one house.
Now, for the record again, Mr. Helens, 5 Saxonwell, does it have one house or does it have more than one houses? As we currently speak.
Well, I don't want to become part of the evidence. But what you see is what existed.
Okay. I would suggest that we move on to the next issue. So if you could perhaps lead the way if you can, based on your memory.
I have a problem in the sense that I don't know if I'm at the place where I was. The pillars look familiar. The house I was at had pillars outside, but there was no closed wall like this close to. And these stairs are too many, if my memory serves me well. Because I know when I went up, and in fact, let me just move closer. I don't even recall this garage structure and this steep. So I wonder if I'm at the right property or if I'm at the right angle of the place I was taken to. Firstly, I see one house. Secondly, I see this wall. Thirdly, I see that garage, this wall, this steep. I don't remember. So am I at the right place? Where are the other houses? I would need to go to all the entrances. If there is one entrance. Because what I see here doesn't make sense in the sense of this wall. Let me see all the other entrances, if they are there.
That's fair.
How many houses are there?
4.
4. Do you want access to all 4 houses?
Please.
Okay. I'm trying. So we first go through and see the entrances, then come back to the properties, as you wish, ma'am.
I suggest we start at 7, but you can
Okay.
choose.
Just explain to us how they go.
5, 7,
Yes.
3, 1.
How would you prefer to? We are now at 5.
Partitioning.
He's doing it.
If there had been partitioning and if there had been walls in between added.
Okay, that's just to be clear. As regards your first, do you require the experts to determine the ages of the houses?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I need to know
To determine which of the 4 is the newest.
was the newest in 2010. Was
Okay.
as new as it was in 2010.
I'm sure you understand that. Your second is the experts to determine whether there's been partitioning, is it of the whole property and or properties, or partitioning inside the house?
Both. Both inside in terms of wall divisions that surround the properties, and also if there had been structural changes within the properties, inside the properties, and if there had been additional partitioning surrounding the houses.
And so it's any and all structural changes.
Yes,
Okay, that's a request. I'm sure it
for
is
now.
doable. Yeah.
If I have any new requests, I'll make
No,
them.
that's fine. We are ready to move to number 7.
Thank you. I would like the expert to take note of the fact that the colors of the properties were almost like this and were not white. This contiguous wall, I don't recall, and this property, I don't see any stairs around it. I just want to make a point also that there was no beautiful garden. The garden might be new. I saw a cluster of houses, 4 to 5. I can't remember, was it 4 or was it 5?
Do you want the experts to determine whether the stairs have been removed?
I'm just making a comment that I don't see the stairs. They will know. I mean, I don't see the stairs. This wall I don't recall. In fact, I can adamantly and specifically say that I've never seen a wall like this on that day, including a structure like this.
Does the witness recognize this house?
Is this the back or the front of the house?
You tell.
I've taken note of this entrance.
Okay.
It's completely alien to me. So if there is, I would like to go around the property to satisfy myself that there is no other entrance. Absolutely. We would have driven through that gate. We wouldn't have driven past windows and stuff. Okay. Just for your own. Okay. Thank you. For now, I will not say anything until I'm inside this property.
No, understood. But does this entrance look familiar to you at all? No. Okay.
Just a question.
The thing is, it might not look familiar, but the other question would be, could it have been tampered with between 2010 and now.
And the stairs removed. You want an analysis of that?
Remember, before I go to the stairs, there was enough space to maneuver where the vehicle offloaded me, and there was enough driveway, a little bit both behind and in front of the vehicle. So this is too narrow.
Okay.
I think I can outrightly rule out this side of the house in the sense of this vegetation. Because I don't think this vegetation would have grown between 2010 and now. If there would have been stairs, and if these glass structures are fairly new regarding the timeline of 2010.
Okay. Noted.
So we would require stairs and the glass to be new.
No, what I'm saying is whether the glass structures could have been added and everything here could have been added post 2010, and whether stairs could have been removed, if they could have pre-existed and been removed.
Take a note of that.
If you say stairs, how many stairs are you thinking? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't want to be exact, but I know that it was around, if my memory serves me well, 5 to 6. Because I don't remember taking, because I was on crutches.
Yeah, but it wasn't 1 and it wasn't between.
No.
There's a photograph attached to her statement which shows the number of stairs. It's that number of stairs.
No, hang on. Let me answer your question. You asked me the question. I was on stairs. When I was assisted into the house by the guys that fetched me from the airport that took me to Sahara and then to the house, I did not go through many stairs. And when the president escorted me out of the house, again, I did not go through many stairs. So it's not like, it wouldn't have been 10, 12, 20, and it wouldn't have been 2 or 3.
We move on to the next property then, Ms. Major?
Yes.
Okay.
It's on the other side of 5.
This is 7.
This is 7. We're at 5.
So now we go to 3. Just do this. Take a shot of the gate so that it shows we are at a different property. You want us to go in, Matt? You want us to go to the property?
This is number 3.
Do not waste of time.
We can see this one. Okay. This is a shot from the gate, so we are yet at a different property.
Why I say no? The house was like this. Also because I wouldn't have spotted other properties. And I spotted that there are no way to be seen here. I mean, from this.
Okay, this is the fourth of the 4 properties. When we stood at the gate of number 3, Saxon Wall Drive, you excluded that as a possibility.
Which one?
The one next to the current property, number 3.
That is if there is no structure behind it.
Would you
Yeah.
like us to check if
Yes.
it's a structure?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that we would have gone through all four, you had wanted to see the entrances before we go inside.
Can we just take a little bit of a walk? That's it.
Absolutely. You just made a comment, definitely no.
The reason why I say definitely no, I've looked at this, I've studied botany.
Yeah.
I know that you can buy a tree, you can get a horticulturist and develop a garden where there was no garden.
Yes.
But the roots of this tree suggest that it's a tree that's been here for quite a long time. And it's a tree I did not see, I would not have did not see.
Okay.
So this side I definitely will out.
Okay. Now,
Just have a look at the back of 3.
you had wanted to see the back of number 3 Saxon World before you excluded it as a
Yes.
possibility.
Yes.
You can
Oh, this
see
is
the
the
back
back.
through the fencing here. Do you want to get onto the actual property?
No.
If you go there, you can look.
I don't think I want to waste time.
That's the structure. This is where you thought there might be another.
Yeah. No. That's not nice.
Okay. Now we have looked at the exteriors of the 4 properties. Would you like us to go into each and every one of them?
Can we just clarify before we do that? Are there any other houses in Saxon Wold Drive or in Saxon Wold which are owned by the Guptas?
Another question. Through you, Advocate Gozen, Advocate Mr. I would like the commission to go and establish the house that Mr. Duduzane Zuma occupied in 2010, in the sense that his father said, my son lives next door, like pointing, like when he was offered something to eat, when he said, he said that he was going to eat, like Duduzane's house just next door.
Okay.
Do we know that?
Can I just say that is may very well be an important issue for your evidence, but I think it's a side issue for purposes of our inspection. Yeah. Our inspection was intended to inspect the Gupta-owned properties in Saxon World. So I would like us to conclude that aspect of things. I have no difficulty in being requested to conduct further investigation on one or other aspect.
No, you know why I'm asking the question? It's because there was no, amongst the houses, the 4 or 5 houses, as I said, there was no partitioning, and there would be no partitioning between the house that Duduzane occupied and the house that I was in. So that's where my question is driving. Yes.
As I said, when we were at number 5, you requested that we visit each property in turn and only look at the exterior, and then only subsequently go back to the houses and get a sense of the interior of the houses. You have made comments that would suggest that you were excluding some properties. Now that we've seen we're at the 4th, is there any house you in particular exclude and you think you are of the view that it does not merit any further investigation, the interior thereof? Or would you want us to still gain access to each and every single house?
I would prefer to gain access first to the 2 houses, the houses that I did not exclude.
Okay, now for the record, which ones did you not exclude? Remember, to assist you, we are now at 1 Saxon World. It is bordered by 3 Saxon Worlds, followed by 5, and followed by 7. When we arrived here, we started at 5 Saxon Worlds. We then moved on to number 7, came back to number 3, and we are now at 1. So by numbering, which ones did you not exclude?
5 and 7. Those are the ones I would like to
start
go
with.
into to start with.
All right.
And but I want to ask the question.
Okay.
Where could the other houses have gone to? Can this gate be opened?
Mama, could I hear the keys?
I need to make a comment about the gate. This gate flaps opens like the gate that we went through that day. So I don't know if this one is a new thing, but hence I asked that it should be open because I wanted, amongst other things, to check if it opens the way it did when we were here in 2010. And also it gives me the sense of distance when I go through it. Unlike when I go like this, it disrupts my distance calculation. So for now, this gate opens in the manner in which the gate we went through opened. I'm not saying this is the gate, but the gate opened in this way.
Thank you.
I need to make a comment about stairs. You know, when you stairs are designed in different ways. These stairs are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But you can actually, they can also become 5 stairs, where you compress 2 stairs into one. And I remember that I did not have to take short, quick steps on that day. They were spaced enough. Okay. So that's the comment I would like to make. I'm not saying these are the stairs or these are not the stairs, but I did not take quick, short stairs. Okay. These pillars, I did not take the number of the pillars. I did not take notice of the number of pillars on that day. So I will not be able to comment, but I would like the structural experts to check for me the age of these, especially these cubed tiled concrete structures.
What, the base of the pillars,
Yes.
not the pillars themselves?
Yes.
To check for what?
I said their age.
Their age.
You got that?
Do you want them to check whether there's 5 or 6 stairs that you can do it?
I said on the day I did not take quick short stairs. I took 5 or 6 broad stairs because I was on crutches. I did not. If you are on crutches, you struggle a lot when you go over short stairs. But if the short stairs are not, you don't struggle that much. But I also want to request these base structures of the 2 in the middle, because I don't remember too much.
So are these not the stairs you went up?
I'm not going to allow you to say things I don't want to say.
Okay.
I've asked structural engineers to check. There were no stairs in the house that I entered on the left. The house that I entered that day, you walked through, and then the, what do you call the lounge or the holding area was in that direction. So these features, I would like them to be, including these things. The house that I entered did not have, I don't recall stairs on my left.
Okay, for record purposes, so we're just now at the foyer. The first thing you point out is you don't recall a staircase upon entering, okay? Do you recall where you were led to sit down? Do we go left, do we go right?
Propagate towards the right.
To the right. Okay. Is there anything you recall about this foyer particularly?
Let me go that side.
All right, after you, ma'am.
She said there were no stairs. Then she said she doesn't recall stairs. No, it's on the video.
I would like to make a thorough way to that side.
Please say that again.
I would like to go behind the structure, this wall.
Mark, will you?
I don't think you can go beyond that wall. If you go this way,
Let's go.
But there is a door here.
Let us.
and let me show you.
Sorry, Mark, before you move, she points out there's a door here. Can't we gain access through this door?
I'll show you. Just
Okay. They say they demonstrate something to us before they answer that question. So let's follow them and see. What is the intention?
No, I will still ask about those. I've not yet asked.
Sorry, before you wanted to show us something.
that door is the door that she was pointing to on the other side.
Can we go back to where we were standing?
All right.
I would like to point out that this height corresponds with the majestic height of the place I was seated in. I'm not talking about the glass structure. I'm talking about kind of. Let's go this way. I would like such engineers to check the age of this.
But before we get to that, I was waiting for your line. No, wait. Oh, there's my.
To check what?
No. Before I get into that, now that you've walked in through the door, are you able to indicate, to the best of your recollection, the pillar you spoke of, where it was positioned?
That's why I need to go this way first. But I was passing here and I was saying, I need this structure's age to be determined. This wall.
Can we state for the record for what purpose are we making that determination?
Because I don't recall it.
So is it your suggestion that to your recollection when you were here, this wall wasn't here?
In the sense that when I the lounge or holding area I was taken to was like that side, and to walk to it and from it, there was enough space. There was no hindrance. And you see, that side, I was confined to an area. My next point is I need to ask, what are these structures and what is behind them?
Is it possible that we take it a step at a time? Front door. Where would you say the pillar was? Are you able to give us a rough indication? Please do so.
I need to maneuver because there was no structure like this. It would have been too. Let me
Okay.
check there. This space and this space is a. I need to get to behind those two structures there, because the pillar was, there were one giant window or two giant windows, and behind that window or windows there was a giant pillar. But because I don't see those windows now, and there are walls that I don't recognize.
So you're saying you're able to indicate where the wall was relative to a window? So we must take
You mean the not the wall, the pillar?
the pillar, I mean.
Yes.
So we must first find the window and see where the pillar is relative to that.
I'm saying two things also.
Yes.
I'm also saying that the walls that I met right now, that we met when we came through, the walls that determine that make new partitioning here,
Yeah.
do not make sense to me. They do not link, because it was a kind of a hollow. I went into a hollow.
Oh, I see.
What do you call this thing? Kind of foyer,
Yes.
and then into a holding room lounge, with no smaller partitions like this.
Okay, then can we get back to the foyer and take it from there?
I don't know what you mean, those structures, but open doors.
We'll get there. So while we're in the foyer, what do you say is about this foyer you don't recall seeing on the day?
I already said that I don't recall this. I already said that there was no wall in front of me.
Okay?
This wall and that wall, and the doors.
All right, so you don't recall, with your back to the door, you don't recall the wall on your right? You don't recall the wall immediately ahead of you, where the mirrors are?
This area is.
And what else don't you don't recall the staircase? You don't recall the space here?
Yes. There was
You could walk
Far
the
away,
space,
you know?
And you don't recall that space over there?
yes.
All right. Then,
What is behind those doors?
yes, that's where we're going.
And maybe also this way too.
Do you want to go through here?
That door comes into this room.
Let's go through. We'll go through this door.
This room was not here. Like when I walked in here, I went to see this repeatedly. There was an open hollow space where you walk through towards the holding place, which is, I don't know what they call it, a holding place or a lounge. So this structure, this room was not there. This would have been, if this is the house, this would have been open space through which I propagated towards the right, where I was made to sit.
Okay.
So this is not the house?
No.
I didn't say that.
No.
So you want the structural engineers to
Can I-
determine whether all of these walls have been built since 2010. Is that correct?
Ms. Mentor indicated that to her recollection, when you're standing in the foyer with the door to your back, she does not recall, because we're outside, this entire wall to her right. So she requested the structural engineers to make a determination as to the age of this wall.
This wall.
I started with that one,
The
the
outside
external one.
Okay?
And then this.
It would by necessity extend to that. Can we go then down the corridor, if it's a corridor, to the next point? Now you will recall, just to give you a bearings, we came in through that way, that's the foyer. So you wanted to come down this passage.
If anyone needs the loo, it's there.
I need a fan. I need to. So open the door, please.
Please open both wide. Sorry, can you come through this way? Yes.
As I say, I would have gone like slightly there.
Yeah. So 10 right after you come through the entrance.
Slightly right, not very right.
Sharp right, okay.
Yeah, like a gentle right
Okay.
from the entrance. And where I seated, I was seated. I was taken through a passage when I was led to the bathrooms. And I would have seated in this position. I'm not saying exactly
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
The couch on which I seated in relation to the entrance would have been facing that way. And then there would be another couch, like that. And there would be a space in between, through which I was led through a passage when I was shown bathroom doors. And where I seated on that couch, there was a coffee table between the two seats. That's where Gupta later, Mr. Gupta, later came to, when he rejoined me, he occupied the couch. Before he came, the people that brought me from the airport and that took me to Sahara and then here, when they asked me what I would like to eat, when they were offering me something to eat, then they told me that they would bring a chef who doesn't speak English. The chef came from a direction to the front of where I was seated.
Okay.
I would like the structural engineers to check if there could have been earlier on, around 2010, plumbing in that direction that would point to a kitchen, because a kitchen would have stuff like zincs. There was no other room, there was hollowness. Like I said,
My question being, where you were eventually
made to sit.
made to sit, was it in the same space where there is the main door, the entrance door?
Now, as I said, I walked a bit away from the door, slightly to the right. And then I was made to sit.
Yeah, what I'm trying to determine is after you walked in through the main door, whatever the size, whatever the space, were you then led into a different room at which you were asked to sit down? Or were you sitting in the same room through which you entered the property. Do you understand my question? Because when you keep indicating you would like structural engineers to check for certain things, we need to understand what exactly it is we are checking for and what it is you are suggesting about the property as you recall it. My question is, we know there is the front door. When you sat down, did you sit in the one room after you walked through the front door, whatever the shape of that room, or were you led into a second room? So the room you are in is the room that has the front door.
In the sense that I will answer you this way.
Yes.
I did not go into two rooms.
Okay.
I went into one holding room, but there was a bit of a space of walking
That's fine.
between the door and the place where I was meant to sit.
But it's still one room.
Yes, I didn't go past a room into a room.
I'm clarifying.
Does she want to show us the bathroom?
The bathrooms now. Okay.
When I was led to the bathrooms, it's either these doors, those two,
Okay.
were not existent or they were open. I mean the wooden doors. Because I did not notice the wooden doors, I don't know what I don't know what beyond. So I would like the wooden doors to be opened.
Okay. Now, when you were led to the bathrooms, did you go through another door?
No.
Okay.
I must say that I didn't enter, just open that.
Is there a light in there?
Looks like a bedroom. I didn't go into any bedroom, so.
Mike, before we... Okay, now we've got two adjoining doors. The first one on the right, would you like to satisfy yourself that that's not a bathroom?
You mean this one?
Yeah, this one.
You mean as I stand in front of it now?
You are welcome to go in.
It's not a bathroom.
Okay, so we can discount that room.
It's not a bathroom as we stand here today.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
But it doesn't exclude the possibility that it could have been.
Part of
some
it
past
could have.
time. Okay.
Yes.
You want the structural engineers to investigate whether this was once a bathroom? Or part of it?
It wouldn't be such a big bathroom. Remember, I said the bathrooms were.
So part of it might have been a bathroom and you want that investigated.
Let's go in here.
Okay, the one on the left. Really?
I remember that when I went into the bathroom,
Yes.
what struck me was the size of the bathroom in relation to the size of the house.
Yes.
I found the bathroom to be a little bit narrow
Okay.
as compared to the size of the house and the holding room where I was, which was very spacious.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, standing in that bathroom, do you have any recollection whether you were in a bathroom such as the one you see now? And this is in respect to size, as you recall it, the furnishings as you describe them, and any other permanent features of the room. Starting with size, would it be the right size?
because I know for a fact that when I opened the door, I found the door to be this size might be the right size or might be slightly bigger, but not too big.
Okay.
What I'm battling with in my mind
Yes.
is I don't recall this part. I might not have paid attention to it,
Okay.
but I do know that the mirror was to this side. What I'm battling with is, what I'm not sure of is, was the toilet seat here or was it here?
And the golden
I'm not
handles-
making a judgment call. I'm just wondering whether the toilet seat was, but I do remember that washing hands, facing, looking myself in the mirror, I face this way.
Okay. Now, can you just go in and get a sense of the room?
And,
No, I just wanted the photographer to take a video of the room.
Can you show us the gold
and
handles?
then, may I, may I request one more thing, please?
Yes.
This door,
Yes.
I'm wondering if this door, I don't know, I'm not also making a judgment call.
Okay.
I want to know if it could have swung to the right or to the left.
Okay.
We want the structural engineers to investigate whether the door previously opened the other way, instead of inwards from the left, inwards from the right.
Yes, but what makes sense for me is the narrowness of whatever structure the door was coming close to, whether it was swinging to the right or to the left.
Can you
You've
show-
been in the bathroom. Is there anything behind this door? With the door?
You mean right
Fully
now?
open, yeah.
No,
Just
I
open it all the way to there.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. The towel rack wouldn't have been here. I don't, let me say I don't recall the towel rack being, because I don't remember washing watching myself on the mirror and then turning around to wipe my hands. But apart from the
Does the door open any further than it is open now, or can you push it back? Is there still scope for it to
it
go
doesn't
back?
go further.
Okay.
And the
And-
structure,
Toilet
Was not
roll
here.
holder. Toilet
What's
roll
that?
holder.
the toilet roll holder.
Yes.
Can you show us the gold handles on the taps that you, on the toilet handles?
You know what? There is some gold here, but you're asking me that question fully knowing that 8 years down the line, you can change the structures.
No.
So I don't want to commit too much.
Do you want it investigated whether that toilet has been changed?
The things that I'm not requesting.
Okay.
What's behind this door? Just a wall.
Towel holder.
There's a wall and a...
Towel
May I ask what is the structure?
hanging there. Towel
Towels.
cloth. Maybe a spare toilet roll, a towel or a cloth.
May I also request... that it should be checked if this is the original size of the window.
Size of the window. And what are we trying to determine with that? Why is the size of the window relevant?
Because this curtain was not there, and because of this curtain, I cannot relate to whether the size of the window was the same.
Oh, I see. Noted.
The toilet was small, either the same size or is now slightly bigger, not very big.
Okay.
But I definitely went through a passage when I was there.
And you say
And I didn't proceed beyond the first door.
and you didn't go through the
No. Not even, I didn't even notice, the door that I was showed is the door that I went through. There was no, if the structure was here, the doors would have been, I don't remember seeing the wooden doors. I might not have paid attention.
Can I ask a question though? Does this look familiar? Or are you saying what you think could have been there should things have been changed? Does this look familiar as it stands, as you stand here and you look at this toilet door?
What is familiar for me is that there is a sense of a passage that I went through, and the bathroom size almost corresponds to the size. What I'm betting on is whether the toilet seat was this side or that side.
So it's not necessarily this passage that is familiar to you, it is just the fact that it is
There was a
passage
passage,
and
yes.
there was a toilet this side.
Yes.
But you do not, this actual, where we are standing now, you do not.
I'm not saying it's the passage, I'm saying it corresponds to the fact that I went through a passage. Whether it is the same passage, I don't know.
now
And there would not have been this.
Number two, I noted there is another like a lounge thing downstairs. I know there is a talk about having gone upstairs, but can we please see that lounge too?
no, but I need to find out, after you, Miss Mentor, walked through the main door, did you go up or down any set of stairs?
You mean inside the house?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
What I would like the structural engineers to do is to tell me if that has an outside to it that can take it outside, or if it is just a downstairs thing which is isolated and is on its own.
We want to go downstairs. Come.
Before we go that side, may I ask those two doors to be open, please?
I'm sure they can.
It's a bedroom. Sandeep.
Now, while we are here, we've now dealt with the toilets, we've dealt with the pillar.
Did I say anything about? Obviously, there's also.
You want to know
recall-
if these rules were added?
No.
This door, we went through
Yeah,
into the
that's
study
right.
and
Yeah.
came out through this door. This door is open. We want to. No. Okay, that's fine.
Does this bedroom have an exit door?
I think so. Sandeep? No. This is the end of the house.
Can I find out what about the exit door you're trying to?
I am saying, the reason why I'm asking if, I'm not saying, I'm not yet saying I was in this house.
Okay.
I'm saying, Mr. Gupta, when he joined me in the house, and the president, they did not come through the door that I was ushered in.
The main door.
Yes, they came through the passage that was the passage that led me to the
Okay.
bathroom.
May I request then that you draw the curtains, open the curtains, let's see.
Therefore,
Because you want to check whether there is an entrance into the room, into the house, through this room. Is that what you're trying to determine?
I want to check if there is an entrance, but I also want to check, I also want the structural engineers to check if there would have been an entrance in
Okay.
2010
Okay.
to the room.
All right, let's deal with what we currently see. What they've opened the curtains and we see 1, 2. Just pull that curtain again. Okay. 3, 4, and 5 windows. We confirm that.
You
Currently.
mean for today?
Yeah, for today.
Yes.
All right. So you want the structural engineers to check whether this room had a door any time prior to today, or could have had a door.
And I'm not necessarily saying that the door could have been a window. I don't understand your relevance of the number of windows you're
So
counting.
what I'm saying is currently there is no door.
Yes.
Okay, what there is are 5 windows.
Yes.
5 separate distinct windows.
Yes.
We're in agreement about that.
Yes.
Okay, what you want is for the structural engineers to determine whether there ever was a door.
Yes.
Okay. And that's all I'm
Anywhere,
trying.
yes.
Yeah. To gain access into this particular room.
Remember, I would not have known if there was a room here.
Absolutely.
What I'm saying is, if there would have been an access that allowed Mr. Gupta and Mr. Zuma to appear through a passage that went past a bathroom to the place where I was seated.
Okay.
I can't comment about the room because I was not in
No,
the
no,
room.
no, it's not the room. I'm trying to see what it is we are testing for, Ms. Mendo.
Yeah.
I can't send the structural engineers to check for
Yeah.
everything. I must understand precisely what
Okay, yes.
they must check for and they must test
Yeah.
relative to what we find.
Yeah.
So we must always relate it back to what we find.
Okay.
Okay?
So this is the end of the house.
well, I don't know, but at least this far, there's no further to go, is there? Mike? There's no further to go this way.
No, no, you'll fall off the end. It's quite high.
Oh, it's baking now. There is a room to your right here. Would you like to satisfy yourself as to whether or not there is a door?
It's a closet. What is this? Please switch on the light.
It's a walk-in closet.
I don't want to comment much about the part of the house that I was not in 2010.
No, but the purpose of coming through here was that this is an adjoining room to the bedroom, just to satisfy yourself that there is no house, there is no door that leads to the outside.
As we stand today,
As we stand
I
today.
wouldn't know about 2010.
As we stand today, there is.
Yes.
Okay. Then going back to the way we came, you spoke about murals, or a mural to be precise. You spoke about a wall with a mural, you recall, in your testimony.
Yes.
Okay, can we start here with reference to the entrance door to determine the wall on which this mural was or is? So we have the front door to our left. And then can you point out the wall on which this mural is painted?
As I said, I would have been sitting somewhere in
Gentlemen,
this.
do you mind? Mike?
When you're done, thank you. I would have seated in this direction, and to my right,
Yes.
there would be either 1 or 2 giant windows
Okay.
and a pillar, and around that space, I would be admiring the wall and what was on the wall.
So now, accepting you are seated the way you're standing now, which is you're having the main entrance to your left.
Yes.
The main door is to your left, the windows are to your right,
Yes, and the pillar.
and the pillar.
Yes.
And now, which is the wall with the mural then?
Remember, I'm saying that I can't say which walls because this structure was
No,
not.
no, no. So I apologize. That pipe, I wasn't clear. Relative to where you are seated, is it on your right, on your left, ahead of you, behind you? That's all I need to know.
Okay. It would be like slightly ahead of me to the right.
So would it cover a part of the wall in front of you?
You mean this one?
No, no, no. As you were seated, please take yourself back to 2010. And you are seated wherever it is you are seated.
That's right, yeah.
The door,
I'm not saying exactly here.
yeah, no,
roughly.
no. The main door is to your left.
Yes.
We've established that.
Yes.
The windows are to your right.
And the pillar.
And the pillar.
To my, not like,
Okay.
to my,
So diagonally to
Yes.
the right.
Yes.
Those are the windows and the pillar. I need you to point out the painting, the wall that has got a mural. Is it immediately ahead of you? Is it slightly to your left, to your right? Is it on the wall ahead of you and to the right, the wall on your right, or the wall ahead of you and to the left? I'm just trying to locate this mural.
this mural. Actually, what is a mural? Because I'm talking about a wall with either paintings or wallpaper.
That's what you're talking.
Yes.
Are you talking about a wall with paintings hung on the wall?
No, 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 no.
Or are you talking of a painted wall?
Painted wall.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Now, where is that wall?
It would have been to the direction of the pillar, but behind the pillar.
No.
The wall itself. Yes.
So then, we say, if I understand you correctly, however you were seated, diagonally to your right are the windows, is the pillar,
Slight yes.
and it is the mural on the wall.
Let me say these are the windows.
Yes,
And this is, let me take you that.
absolutely.
Yes. Assuming there is no wall here,
Okay.
assuming there is a big window or two windows here,
Okay.
and assuming that there is a pillar somewhere here,
Okay. Yes.
I would be sitting to that direction and I would be looking like this. So I would be looking in this area.
Okay, I accept it's in this area, but at some point, this wall is going to make a 90-degree angle with the other wall. Are you with me? The wall to your right, when it meets the other wall, it's a 90-degree angle. The only thing I'm trying to establish is whether the mural overflows both the walls or is squarely on one wall.
But remember the other wall is the window. So how can you paint on the windows?
This is what I don't understand. You keep saying it is, I keep asking you, is it immediately ahead of you? It is to your right? Is it to your left? Is it behind you? Are we able, just in those very simplistic terms, to determine where this wall is that has got a mural?
But Advocate Mahlapi,
Yes, ma'am.
straight to where I am sitting, ahead of me,
Yes.
it's the direction from which the chef was brought.
Okay.
But slightly to the right, to my right,
Yes.
there is one or two big windows and there is a pillar.
Okay.
And behind the pillar, there is a wall where I'm sitting and watching either the painting or I'm sitting and wondering, is that wallpaper or is it a painting?
Can I put it differently?
Yes.
Is the pillar in front of the window?
What do you mean? No, the window is here.
Yes.
The window is here, or windows. The pillar is here.
So the pillar is immediately in front of the window.
Yes, if that's your front.
Now, do the windows run to the end of the wall? Do they run that far?
Oh, I get your question.
Yes. Because I'm trying then, having understood where the window is, understanding where that wall is, I am trying to understand where the mural is relative to where you are seated. That's where I need your help. Okay.
The windows are on the slight right,
Okay.
and then the wall that I'm looking at admiring, you move to an angle like this.
All right.
And you're looking at the wall.
But it doesn't go up to the wall that is directly facing you.
Remember, the wall, there wouldn't be a wall that's facing me because that's the entrance from the kitchen. There would be a wall this side.
I am happy with that.
Can I cut this short, please? Unless there's been a major reconstruction of this house, this isn't the house.
Mike, let's not argue the matter, all right? We're at the 22 Hill side, that's where we will argue.
Advocate Mahlape, you are trying to, I don't know, I want to understand your question. Are you asking me whether I would have looked at the mural that side also?
No, I'm hoping that if we work off the premise that a room has got 4 walls, right? And then I try to locate you in that room. You have told us that on your right is the windows.
1 or 2
One or
big
two.
ones.
Yes.
And a lot of light coming through.
On your left is the main entrance.
Yes, far left.
Presumably there is a wall behind you. Okay? And there must be a wall in front of you. You explained that on that wall there is a door through which this gentleman came to.
Not a door, a passage.
A passage.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
I'm looking at the wall that side.
okay. So it is that bit of the wall that you say has got a mirror.
Yes. I'm not talking about, I don't recall looking at the paintings or what to my left.
Okay. So at least I've located it in the room. Now I would like you to have a look at the murals here. Is that what you saw? Or was it a different image?
Remember this side was a window and a pillar.
No, I'm trying to determine the image you saw.
No.
Do you recall what image was on that wall?
It was not these images, because I know these images, they are Eastern and they're unmistakable.
This is recorded, if you mind. Thank you.
Yes. I travel the East a lot. It's not this, it was not these ones.
Do you have any recollection at all what it could have depicted? You might not. I'm not holding you to that. I'm just trying to get a sense.
I know that it was art that you had to pay attention to determine what you see. But the structures were depictable if you look closer. These pictures, you don't have to study them to see are they Buddha or are they what. You just look at them and you see and they're big enough. It was a minute painting that you had to pay attention to depict the structures.
But it's definitely not this.
Definitely not.
Now, can I request that we go into the lounge they led us into, and I say so appreciating that you question whether this wall to my right existed at the time. So I would like us to go into that room because I want us to look at the windows. I'm trying to locate this 2 big or 1 big window.
When I looked at the windows,
Yes.
I do not recall a curving structure like that corner there.
Okay.
And also, I know that I looked high up. I could see there a low ceiling like this. So I want to commit in terms of triple or double.
No, that's fine.
What I know is it was definitely not this.
Trying to determine the height of the ceiling.
Yeah, I appreciated the height.
All right. Now, did that height extend to where you were seated, or was it like?
No, I was looking at it adjacently. It was away from me.
All right. And where you were seated, where was the roof? Was it still this double or triple volume? Was it a normal roof height?
I don't remember looking at the height of
The ceiling itself.
the ceiling where I was seated.
Okay.
I remember looking, admiring, spotting the pillar in the windows and the art and then the height where I was looking.
So the ceiling where you were actually seated was not particularly striking, and you have no recollection of it.
I have no recollection. Nothing was attracting me to that ceiling. I had a reason to note the ceiling there because I was admiring the art.
I understood. There was an issue, it's a law, I think you raised about the kitchen. Can I understand?
I just wanted to know where the kitchen is relative to here. I just wanted to see where one would come from if they were coming from the kitchen.
Is that right? Would you be so kind? Thank you.
It's okay. What I requested is the engineers to check in.
There's a kitchen here.
Is it?
So I just wanted to know relative to where you would have
Yeah.
been, where would the kitchen come from?
But entering the kitchen will not help because
No,
was
I
not
didn't want to
We're
enter
only
it. I just
conducting
wanted to.
investigations. There's a kitchen
I
here.
just wanted to know where it is, that's all. And it has been placed for me, that's all. I wanted a placing, not to see the inside. I wanted to place it in proximity of this.
We don't need ducting investigations. It's here.
Okay, so we've got the kitchen, is anything in
I
particular?
just wanted to position it in my own mind. I wanted to know how far.
Are you satisfied with the position of the kitchen? Anything about the kitchen you'd like us to look into?
No, I've never been to that kitchen in 2010, so there's nothing I can say about it. All I know is that there was the chef was brought to me from a passage side, so I knew that the kitchen was to the front of where I was seated.
Now,
Want to go downstairs?
when you came in through the main door, do you recall going up any set of stairs? Do you recall going down a set of stairs?
So it wouldn't help me to go.
For a record, there is a room downstairs, but you're confident you didn't go downstairs. We need not.
Definitely. I know the stairs that I took that day were the stairs outside. The bad foot always goes to hell, goes down first. That's what my
No one else. We don't have to give me with the structural engineer. I just want to see it.
Around where?
The downstairs lounge.
Sure, I'll come with.
With the structural engineer, whoever else.
I will lean against the wall so long.
Double volume and a pillar and a window. Also smell.
Ms. Major, I won't call this a room. Do you have a recollection of the space?
You mean from there to
Or
there?
just generally, any aspect of this entire space, does it ring a bell with you? Do you recall having been in any one or anywhere in the space?
I don't recall this large space.
If you break it down in a
But-
particular way, do you have a recollection of it?
No, look. What I'm interested in, what I see is, I see a pillar there.
Where?
Yes,
By the swimming pool.
yes, but I don't, there was no swimming pool. But the only thing I can see, and pillar that I saw that day was wider than that one.
Wider.
Yes.
Okay. So you'd like to discount that particular pillar as a possibility?
In terms of size.
Yes. Just based on the size alone.
And you see, yeah. What also strikes me is that there are windows behind the pillar, but they are not as gigantic as the two windows, one or two windows I saw.
So the ones you saw are bigger than this current one?
Much longer and bigger.
By much longer, you mean they spread
No, in terms of height.
or higher?
Yes.
Now, lastly, there's a mirror here on my left when I'm facing the swimming pool. Have you ever seen this picture before?
No.
No.
No. I would like to go
Down that passage?
yes.
I'm sure someone will see us there.
I'm not interested on the Oh,
Sounds like.
exactly. What's happening here? Although my interest is here, but what's happening here?
Sandeep?
Yeah.
Bedroom.
Okay. Bedroom. Can this door be opened, please? His name is Sandy.
Sandeep.
Sandeep.
I'm just looking at the window.
It's a different key, I don't have.
Don't have a key.
It's like a cleaning place, you know, the pipes and
But
the,
I-
Oh, yeah.
the house. I will try to get someone to get it.
Huh?
It's the pipes of the house, gives access to
It's
the.
like a maintenance place where you see the drainage coming down. It's a different, it's not like a room.
I would have wanted to see it.
And I will try to get the keys.
But are you sure you'll get them today?
Yeah, I'm trying.
No.
Yeah. Before we leave, we'll.
Tseho, I'm just interested in these stairs, whether they've. No, but. I'll make a comment once this room is opened.
Okay. Advocate Silla, or let Advocate Silla know then.
Say that again.
What are you saying you want?
No, I wanted to say, to ask something about the stairs, but I won't do that until this room is opened.
Okay.
We're told this is a kind of shaft which contains all the piping of the house, plumbing. It's not really a room at all. Very
Okay.
tall, like a cupboard with pipes in it.
I do accept that that can be the plumbing and.
I haven't seen it, but we're getting the key.
But the thing is, they too should be checked if they're fairly new or have been there since the.
Why?
What are we checking? The pipes?
No, I just want to have a look.
Yeah, no,
We are told it's the
appreciate that.
pipes.
Yes. And then you say you would like to check whether it is new, but or they are new. I'm trying to understand to check what it is. What is the they that you would like to check?
No, I want to see the room first and decide whether I want to ask that second question.
I'm with you. I understood that they are trying to locate the key.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go to the other house.
And then as soon as the key is at hand, we can come back.
I would not come back. I would trust you guys to come back from because taking stairs up and down for me. It's,
But I'm sure Siko can come and confirm.
Yeah.
Whatever it is she finds.
Okay.
Okay.
would like the structural engineers to pay attention to the seal doors and to check whether when you go through them, you could go to the bedroom we saw. If they determine if there would have been. Remember I asked.
The bedroom.
Remember I asked the bedroom we saw if it has a.
Right at the end.
Yes, if it has a, it might have an exit door.
Upstairs.
Oh, it's upstairs.
That's one floor up. We can check it now. Jy kan omgaan. Wat sy wil weet is, as jy hier uitgaan en jy kan van buite af na hierdie plek kom, kan jy by die slaapkamer inkom waar sy gewonder het as daar nie 'n deur gewees nie. Maar dis dis hoog. So.
Nee, maar die ding is, als dit hoog, daar kan wees, daar is steps buiten.
Wat weggeneem is.
Ja,
Okay,
Dis wat ek bedoel.
Sal check. Ek sal jou help. You would have to have stairs and a door which have now been removed.
Number 7.
Okay, so now, for the record, we are moving on to 7 Saxon Wall Drive, right?
There's the main gate.
what time is it?
It's after 11, that's what it is.
Oh, okay. Because my flight is at 3.
Have you ever been in this house?
When I entered the house, there was no stairs. And I've also questioned the space in terms of the wall, the stairs outside. But let's go to the lounge.
Where's the lounge?
I don't know.
Exactly.
My dad is, can I find out what's through the door?
Sandeep. Just show the lift. It's a dining room.
I need to ask a question to the structural engineer, please. I need to pose a question to the structural engineer. With my a layman's eye, the structure inside, the structure looks fairly new. Can you check that for me? Age, yes.
Well, that's a really difficult exercise.
Okay.
If it's possible. So
Okay.
just not mention it now.
Okay, all right.
Already
Okay.
in advance. That's not an easy task.
Can I try to determine, is it the entire structure whose age you want to determine, or is it the inside partitionings
The entrance and the inside partition. The entrance, the spaces will be two, not the whole building.
Okay, so can you be specific exactly
Okay.
what it is we require them to test?
Okay. To test whether the entrance where we entered,
Yeah.
yes, whether there is a lift and stairs and what is the age of that structure, and the area where we are standing, the age of the partition. Not the whole house. Thank you for that. It's not going to be very helpful for me to traverse this house too far, but let's go that side.
Any
What are you looking for?
Any comment on this particular room? You asked for the door to be opened.
Yes, remember I was not let into a room from where I was sitting. That's why I'm immediately automatically saying I won't be able to see. I just wanted to see where the door is leading to. Whether it was.
But let's cut it short. The room you were in had as part of it the entrance door. We have been in the room which forms part of the entrance door. And that's not the room you were in.
Okay, can I just we walked through the main door, and when we came around, this is the first door. There's a first passage, and there's a door. You asked us to open this door because you wanted to see where that door led to. So now we see that door leads to the dining room. What were you trying to establish by asking us to?
I was trying to establish whether there is an external door.
Okay. And we've satisfied ourselves there isn't.
Yes, today there is no external door.
So we can move on. Sorry.
I don't think that it's going to be very helpful for me to go very far, except to. This is a kitchen. Kitchenette. I would only want to check if there is a kitchen that side or if there had been a kitchen, and that would be the end of my story.
Apparently there's no.
In so far as this house is concerned.
Movie theatre, that's right.
Is there any aspect of this part of the house you would like us to
I would like the structural engineers just to check if there was any plumbing to this that would suggest
Just
the
open the movie
previous
theatre.
existence of the kitchen. But then I'm done with this house.
Okay. We don't need to investigate it further except to determine whether or not whatever lies behind them, those doors was once a kitchen.
Yeah, remember I asked whether the entrance, how the age and the area had partitioning, whether there has ever been plumbing to this site that would suggest a kitchen once existed, and whether there would be an external door to that site.
But I need to, Mike, before you go, can we answer the question of the toilets now? Where would the toilets have been relative to the entrance?
Hence, I ask the age of the partitioning internally, because hence I was trying to look for the toilets. Hence, I ask were they removed and was there restructuring to do away with them.
That room is open?
Well,
Is there light in there?
Yeah, there is.
well, I'm not interested in what it looks like today. I'm interested in whether it had plumbing that would suggest it could have been a kitchen in 2010.
Okay. Well, you've taken note of that, huh? It's not so much what it looks like today.
Kan
It's
dit
whether
wees
or
dat
not-
hierdie plek op 'n tyd 'n kombuis
Or of deal funded.
of deel van die plek 'n kombuis was?
Gaan nie nou aan.
Nee.
What is this? Is a
We've got a palace.
about the question I needed to ask. I don't know, it's not about the houses, it's about entering.
You require 5 to 6 stairs to have been removed. All of the glass work to have been entirely altered. The entire structure of everything we see to have been altered in order to accommodate that which you've described. Is that really what you're asking us to do?
I'm not going to answer.
Yes, Mike, that's what
I'm
she's
not
asking.
going to answer.
Miss Mentor, wait.
You're
Mike,
not going to bully me.
Miss Mentor, please give me a second. Mike, that is exactly what she's asking. It is for the commission to determine whether it must be done.
Yeah.
So we understood what she is asking. So, are we done here?
We're done
on
in
this
this
one?
house.
All right. Now, I go back to my original question. We've seen the externals of 1 and 3 section walls. Would you like us to go inside those properties?
No.
Okay, so we can discount those.
Yes.
All right.
I would like to emphasize further last comments
Yes.
about entrance to the 2 properties.
Okay.
The driveway, I would like us to go outside.
Or
The outside.
from the
yeah,
main street.
from the gates.
Okay, that's fine. We can go there.
Tell me, this group has grown in size. Can we account for that?
What?
Were we all this
Yes.
20 people?
It's been a long morning. We are all getting tired. We've all been behind. Oh, I think that's the thing. Everybody's been walking behind you. That's why you don't get to see them.
The last thing that I need to establish is, I don't know if it's a silly question, you read out. It's not a question. We drove from, when you drive from the direction of Sahara,
Yes.
what are the different ways that you could approach Saxon World?
There would be many.
20?
I don't know. But in my recollection, Sahara is in mid-range. The Sahara office was in mid-range. And
No,
that's,
what did I say? Did I say Sahara?
you said Sahara, yes.
I wanted to say Saxon World.
No, we are in Saxon World.
Yes, I know.
You say when you come into Saxon World, from where? You want to determine...
From the direction, we're driving from Sahara. How many approaching Saxon World? I'm talking about approaching now.
Okay, now that's the point I was making. I start off by saying the Sahara offices were in mid-range. We are in Saxon World.
Yes.
That's a fair distance. It's almost like halfway to Pretoria. So if we say how many routes can you take to come to Saxon World, there would be quite a few.
No, I don't think you understand. I don't think my question was clear
All right.
enough to
Okay,
you.
let's try again.
For instance, I'm saying when you approach this property,
Yeah.
there is a likelihood that we could have approached this way or that way.
Oh, so you mean as you near this
As
property?
we enter the property, not the route.
I don't know.
Depends on where you come off the highway. If you use the highway, probably use the highway. Probably come off it. Oh,
Oxford, Jansmart?
even Jan Smuts, and then come back down Jan
Come from
Smuts.
that side of this. I guess Google Maps can answer that question comfortably. Yeah, to give us all possible.
I think I've done my best today. I don't want to
From
overstretch.
Kirana, you come straight
Let's just do the
from the night one.
issue you wanted to clarify outside.
We found the key for that.
Oh, yeah, they need to check.
Just a maintenance.
Did the structural engineer hear me out when I said if there were garages here, they would have been closed. I would not have seen cars parked in a garage. If there was a garage,
There would have been a door closed, or there would have been no door, or what?
there would have been a door closed, or there would have been no structure.
Okay.
So the structural engineers must investigate whether that's a new structure since 2010, or if there
There was
used
a
to be
door.
doors and there's no doors now.
No.
Huh?
What
What
you are
I'm trying to
suggesting
say
that-
is, I don't recall seeing a garage, cars parked in a garage. I'm questioning, was this garage here in 2010?
Okay.
Or did I miss it because it was closed?
Well, the one they can answer, the other they can't.
All right. Does it have a door to close in the first
Doesn't
place,
look
this
like
one?
It does. Ah. That door in between is very suspect to me.
Which door?
No, not the door, the wall. The wall in between.
Oh, that divides that property from this property?
Yeah.
Yes, you have asked that they test the age of that boundary wall together with this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Building next to it.
Yes.
Because I know we drove a little bit. This distance makes sense.
Okay. From the gate
Yes.
to...
To in front of the stairs.
Because remember, if there was no wall, you could have also come in from there and still drawn, you know, the wall.
Yeah, and there was no
changes
garden.
the drive.
Yes.
Right. So they have the brief, they will execute.
So I don't want to overstretch it now.
You had wanted us to check something about the entrance gates? Do you want us to go out to the street? Or, okay.
No. This gate opens like flap neck.
It did.
I did not take note of how that gate is it being pushed when it's being opened.
Yeah, that
We-
only looks like it's light.
It slides.
We went in the first time through the main gate.
Yes, I would like to see how it operates again. Yeah. Let me stand here and observe it.
You look out for vehicles so that they don't hit us, huh? While we make our observation.
We wouldn't have come left because of seeing the calcite.
But there's no the house, it's almost like you can turn left or right.
Yeah, that's the wood.
Oh, I see. But I remember the avenue, like the trees.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I remember that what confuses me is that both gates have got a tree next to it. Because I had marked the tree on the right when we entered.
Okay.
The last thing is just to check how that gate opens now.
You have a remote for this gate?
That one, remember, it's slid, but they can do it again. It's slided. Don't you remember they
It-
slided
oh,
it
it's a-
to open? Let's see it again for your
But you see,
recollection.
if it's sliding today, the question is, has it always slided? Because I know for sure the gate we entered opened like, yeah. So it might be that gate, if that gate has never been changed.
I think we're done. I think we're done. Satisfy yourself.
But remember I said that if we enter through this gate, that structure would not have existed on the right.
You did mention.
Yes.
You noted that, right? Yeah. Okay.
We're done.
Okay. Who is
Okay.
My breakfast is in your car.
Hey dealer.